Good afternoon, everybody. Let's give it another try to Hey help session here. One of the topics that's come to light recently is revolved cuts. People have been, I've noticed, struggling a lot with the sketching, where to sketch, and controlling a sketch for a revolved cut. So typically with a revolved cut, you're going to have most likely a round object that you want to put the revolved cut on. So just to very lazily create let's say a cylindrical object instead of a round object, a cylindrical object, I'll just create a cylinder. How about a 4x4 cylinder? Okay, so for the beginner, first thing that might be confusing about trying to put a revolve cut on a round surface or on a cylinder is where to sketch. Okay, this surface or that plane are not going to do you any good for a revolve cut if you want it to be around the circumference of this cylinder. What you need is you need a plane that passes through the axis. But the axis being on that plane is important. So the front plane would work, or the right plane in this case. Both of these pass through what would be, and I can turn on a temporary axis here in our view. See the axis there in the center? Both the front plane and the right plane pass through the axis because I centered that original circle sketch on the origin. Okay, so turning that back off. Select the front plane, for example, and I'm going to start a revolve cut. Now, no matter whether we're creating a revolved base or revolve cut, it's good to go ahead and establish your axis with a center line. Okay, so we're going to go around the center axis of the cylinder. Okay, and then we are going to want to sketch the profile. Now, we'll do something a little interesting, I guess, out here. Now that we're going to want this groove that we're going to create with this revolved cut to be out here on this outer edge. So if I was to create something, let's say we wanted to create something like this. We have to think about how to control that sketch. Okay. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, first thing I'm thinking is I'd like it to be symmetric. Okay. When I think symmetry, first thing I think of is a center line. So I could create a center line from the midpoint of this outer line to the midpoint of the what would be the inner line. Okay. And then I'm realizing, okay, sorry, I kind of skipped mentioning a step. You see me hitting the escape key. That just cancels whatever whatever tool we're using. And next thing I want to do is as I'm trying to control my shape is I'm going to grab a corner and say, that thing's moving all kinds of non-symmetric. First thing I notice, that center line needs to be held horizontal. Okay. Escape key again. I grab a corner. And I see some nice symmetry happening there. And I don't see much happening there. Pause for a second here. Okay, so we were dragging around a point and looking for other lacks of symmetry. Okay, you can see that this line and this line are not being held equal to one another, so we're going to add an equal. All right. Now look at all that symmetry, and I didn't even use a symmetry relation. Some of this could have been done with also selecting the center line and adding symmetric. But if it's all being held without an extra relation, no reason to add it. Okay, so Now that we've established that it moves the way we would like it to, then we have to think about, okay, I need to dimension it. So first things first, where do I want it? And how do I want to dimension that location? So we could say, okay, to the bottom edge would be a dimension, or we could say to the center. Okay, maybe you wanted to establish it to the center of the cut. Pretty easy to do when you've got a center line. So now we've located it. Now we need to size it. So we say this cut's going to be 3/8 of an inch at the top, and maybe we would say it is, well, let's do 3/8 of an inch deep. I mean, why not? This is just hypothetical anyway, right? And the width in the bottom, is that going to matter? Who knows? Let's go with, oh, how about that? And then let's just put an angle on these guys. So let's do a 60. All right. So there's our dimensions. All we did is go through looking at what was blue and dimensioning it out. We've got a depth and a width. It's usually where you start, and then start working on the smaller details. All right. So now we have a fully defined sketch. We are ready to move forward. Please don't move forward without a fully defined sketch. And please make sure that you are using real relationships and don't cuss your colleagues by using the F word here. Okay, that's a very frustrating relation to add to a sketch, because the whole point in feature-based modeling is to be able to easily modify the model as you're designing. And when you fix things in your sketch, you are defeating the purpose of using the software. Okay, so please don't do that. That might just keep you from getting into arguments with your colleagues. Let's just say it that way. Okay, so now you might have noticed that if I back up a step, stop talking about arguments, and I select revolve, it doesn't automatically select what I'm going to revolve around. And that's because we used a second center line. SolidWorks is pretty good about assuming if you have a center line, that's what you want to revolve around. But since we have two in this sketch, it's not sure, so it's going to let you decide that is the line we want to revolve around. And really that's all there is to it. Click done, and now we have placed that cut in there. Okay. All right, so that is a simple revolve cut. One other thing I thought would be nice to help you with right now, since we're talking about round parts, is controlling the location of sketches on a flat surface that has a round edge. Okay, so this being a circular edge, let's go in and say, okay, we could do something as simple as just say I want to put an extruded cut at some location. So I'll say this is extremely hypothetical, because who in the world would do this willfully to a machinist? But there's your basic shape. First thing I notice is location. Okay, where am I going to locate this thing? Okay, center lines are great for helping locate. If this thing can be clocked, at your 12, 3, 6, 9, right? That would be ideal, because you can place yourself a vertical center line, and now all you have to do is dimension the length of the center line, which will be the radial dimension. Okay. Then next thing you do, still blue, being beginners, we're going to grab a corner and say, oh, okay, it doesn't know size or orientation. Dang. Well, orientation's easy. Just pick one of those edges and say, hey, I want to make that horizontal. Now all we have left is size. This one having this nice construction circle here that is tangent to those edges. We're really liking 3/8 today for some reason. Let's be a little more fun. Let's go at least a 1/2 inch. All right. And then we can say, okay, we are fully defined. We're ready to move forward. We'll make our extruded cut. And let's be interesting again. Let's just say a 1/4 inch deep cut. And then once you've established that, you could do a nice circular pattern. Okay. Circular pattern needs a axis to go around. SolidWorks is nice to us. It says pick a cylindrical face and it'll assume the axis of that cylinder. You can establish whatever angle you want to be between those, or you can just let SolidWorks fill in the 360 or even 180 if you like, whatever number you want to put there. Most frequently 360, and say, okay, I want however many you want, 8, okay, done. So there is a completely useless model, but we covered controlling, or first of all, where to sketch a revolved cut sketch or profile. We covered controlling that sketch with relations and locating it. And then we also talked about locating sketches on a face. I think that's good enough for this one. Again, if you have any more questions, comments, you can contact me through the channel. Hey Acre, and I hope this helps. Have a good day.